Hey there. I just read the coolest article, and so I want to share something with you. So I'm sitting here in my rocking chair and have this big photo album thing in my hand. We live in a time when people are taking selfies a lot and a lot of photographs. Some people think that's an overuse and excess, and we post too much of the highlight reel, which that may be true on Facebook and the social medias. But I want to draw your attention to simply the point of photographs. When I was writing my first book, Emerging with Wings, and I was in counseling, one of the things I talked with my counselor about was photographs. I asked her, is it possible to be a hoarder of photographs? And she's like, I don't know, maybe that's a thing. She'd never heard of it before. Because I collected them. And I wanted them all the time. I wanted to look at them. I could never throw away photographs. I had this, I felt like an unnatural attachment to them. And then I read that article today. The article was written by a photographer, interesting enough. And he talked about growing up, and he had a difficult childhood. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't awful, but he had a lot of pain, and he struggled in life. And he ended up in counseling and dealing with things and worked through things. And he said, it could have been worse. Like a lot of us, we compare our trauma or neglect or dysfunction or whatever word you are comfortable with using in your life. He talked about how it could have been worse, but it definitely could have been better. He talked about how his remembrance of childhood was full of pain and a lot of difficulty. Even though he knew it wasn't all bad, the things that he remembered were the hard things. He remembered pain. He dealt with anxiety. He dealt with depression. And then he went and visited his mom and ended up with the job of going through the closet or the shed or something. I forgot what room it was that he went through to sort through this and that and odds and ends, he said. He found photographs of his parents earlier in their marriage and photographs of himself. In these photographs, he found them smiling. He found himself smiling, and it surprised him. But it also encouraged him, because so much of what he had remembered had been negative. So finding these photographs of him smiling, he was like, that happy kid was there. I just got lost along the way. So I want to challenge you. No matter where you are in your journey, maybe you have small children, I want to encourage you to take lots of pictures, and not just the staged ones. Take some ones when your kids aren't looking, when they're laughing, when they're doing something that's wonderful, and save those for later. People also complain about, then we have to get rid of all this clutter and everything. Well, turn them into a digital thing. You don't have to keep them all in, holding in your hands photographs. Though the holding in your hands photographs, I prefer those. That's why I have lots of photo albums. And I'm going to go through this photo album today to remind myself of things that I had forgotten. I had a lot of pain in my childhood, a lot of trauma in my childhood, but there was also good. No matter how bad our life is, there is good in there somewhere. Like, I love that story of the two kids that the parents took to the psychologist, and one of them they put in a room with a pile of manure, and the other one they put in a room full of toys. And the one in the room full of toys just sat down and cried, and the psychologist came in and said, what is the matter? Why aren't you playing with these toys? Well, he was afraid that if he played with the toys, he might break them. So he had this mentality of fear, and that fear mentality was driving how he behaved. Yet his sibling was in this other room with a pile of manure, and the psychologist goes in there, and the kid's just screaming with glee and digging through the manure, and she's like, what are you doing? What's going on? He said, with this pile of horse poop, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. And so I love that, because we can look at our childhood, and no matter how much manure has been in our childhood, we can look for the pony. Because we can find some, no matter how terrible it was. I've heard the stories of people with horrific childhoods, and they still have positive moments, and we can find them. And that's what I wanted to bring up with photographs. If you can find some photographs of your childhood, to look through them and look for the pony in your childhood. Look for the happy. Look for the things that you can celebrate. I know one of the things I looked for in my photographs as I was writing my first book was validation of the pain, which maybe that's a negative thing, but I was struggling with, was it real? And so maybe you need to find both. Maybe you need to find evidence of, yeah, I did struggle. See, that's in this photograph, or I'm not in any of these photographs, or whatever it is. It validates your pain, but then also look for where you can find the pony. So photographs are important. So if you're older, you have grandkids, I want you to look back and look for the good. If you're in the middle, and maybe you're in the sandwich, you have your parents are still alive, and you have children that are graduating in that, and you can still build memories. You can still take pictures. You can still build a legacy by creating these photographs. And as I said, don't make them just the staged kind, like the highlight reel. Take pictures that show the full measure of your life, so your children can look back later, because we don't remember everything. We just don't remember everything. There's just too many moments for us to remember everything. And so I want to encourage you, take lots of photographs. Look back on photographs. Share photographs with your children, with your grandchildren, of family members, of the good things, of the things that are worth remembering. Because you matter, your life matters, validating the truth and creating joy in your life matters. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm Danielle Bernack from DanielleBernack.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet who loves you. See you later.